And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Insight on Business. My name is Michael Libbie. All of this is powered through our advertising agency, Insight Advertising, Marketing, and Communications. Decades of work with all sizes of business, from the little bitty tiny ones all the way up to the big ones, helping them sell more stuff through sound advertising, marketing practices. That's what qualifies us to be able to do this show, I guess. Hey, well, let's talk about marketing. I ran across this the other day. And I think this is vitally important. We're just ended the first quarter of 2013. And if you, like most small to medium-sized businesses, are going through your life kind of bumbling and stumbling through your advertising and marketing for the year, it's time to stop. All right? And I'm going to give you what are 8 marketing truths. And all of these, for those of you who are listening, it's going to be 8 marketing truths, and we're going to explain each one of the slides to you. For those of you who are watching this segment, you can go ahead and see exactly what it is that we're talking about when we comment. So let's go ahead and get started. This is slide number 1. What should you be spending most of your time doing, kids? You should be spending most of your time marketing your business. Everything else tends to be busy work. Oh, sure, you have to sell things, but you can incorporate marketing in the sales. So marketing strategy, that's something that you should be doing. You should be planning your website and your management, offline integration, social media. You should optimization process, conversion analysis. How many people who are coming to your website are actually engaging? What kind of an email campaign do you have? How important is marketing? Well, in our opinion, you should be spending most of your time in this silo. And that means knowing who your customer is, being able to cater to that customer, finding new customer demands out there, what are the consumers demanding, and then being able to launch that product or service long and far in advance of them asking for it. Slide number 2. So what is the purpose of marketing? Think about this for just a second. What is the purpose of marketing? What is your purpose of marketing? So let's really drill this down to your business. What do you want out of this? Do you want to make more money? Is that the idea? Do you want more sales? Do you want to have more individuals come to your nonprofit? Do you want to be able to engage people in a certain social mission or political mission or whatever that mission is? Sit down and think, what is the purpose of your marketing? Zero in on that. Put it in a box, write it down, and you're going to be able to win in the end. What is the purpose of your marketing efforts? Write it down. All right. Think about this for a second. While you're thinking about where you're going, this slide talks about what's your competitive advantage. Everybody's got a competitive advantage. It may be because you're a hyper-local business. It may be because of price. It may be because of shipping. It may be because you have the only product like it, but nobody knows about it. You've got a competitive advantage, and just like a marathon runner who has competitive advantage, and that's what the slide is, we're showing marathon runners, what you need to do is be able to zero in and know what your competitive advantage is. That means you have to take the time to think. Sit down, close the door, and say, okay, these are my competitive advantages, and then conversely, go ahead and try to figure out what are the competitive advantages of your competition. I don't suggest, ladies and gentlemen, that you sit there and you focus continually on your competition. That's not going to get it done. But what I want you to do is take some time, sit down and think about your competitive advantage and where you can really bubble up those competitive things in your marketing plan. All right. You might wonder, who's your target audience? This slide is kind of interesting. You target your customers. It makes total sense, right? I mean, you got to put a bullseye on the back of who you are trying to reach. If you say that you're trying to market your product or service to everybody, you're missing the boat. Not everybody is going to buy what you have to sell, unless you're a huge commodity program. I mean, come on, let's really stop and think about this. If your target customer is female, age 35 to 55, how do you go about targeting that person with what they want? How do you go about listening to that demographic? What do they want? What do they think about your brand? What do they think about your marketing? Target, target, target. It's so easy in today's world too, kids. Targeting in today's world, utilizing social media or any number of tools. If you're buying radio, if you're buying television, if you're buying print, you have to ask those specific questions about that salesperson. But you already have a leg up because you know what your target market is. Work, work, think, and think. Next slide says, okay, hey, what tools are we going to use? Not every tool that is out there in the toolbox of marketing is going to be perfect for your business. I mean, your business may not like radio. It may not work with radio. Your business may not work with television. It may not work with print. It may not work with social media. What does it work with? It may not work. Not every tool in the toolbox is something that you should use. When you know your consumer, you know your target market, when you know your competitive advantage, when you know those things about marketing your business, and you've taken the time to sit there and think, then you can pick the right tool that will successfully market your business and sell more stuff. Slide number 6, you got to plant your flag, kids. I love that quote. You know, it's a quote that goes back a long time. Where are you going to plant your flag? What is it about your business that you can stick a flag in the ground and say, this is mine? Not to stand back and say, hey, look, I'm going to enter this a little sheepishly. That's not the goal. What I want you to do is be bold. Bold about planting your flag in the right location because you already know, you already have part of the marketing project already figured out. So don't be afraid to plant your flag. Be able to, one very important thing, make sure that you're flexible. You can remain flexible on the periphery, but if you've got a product or service and you know that product or service is damn good, plant your flag and stand proudly next to it and say, this is me. Don't be wishy-washy about that kind of stuff. Slide number 7 says, okay, hey, what's your identity? Now, that sounds like kind of a silly question, doesn't it? But what is your identity? Do you know how other people identify you? And this is going to take a little bit of market research. What do your customers think about you? Now, this is part of branding as well as marketing. But if you think you're in control 100% of your branding and your identity, you're wrong. You need to figure out what other people are saying about your product and service, and then learn how you can best market your identity. Not every business that sells purses and handbags has the same identity. Not every shoe store has the same identity. Not every furniture store has the same identity. So you got to ask yourself, if they all don't have the same identity, why in the hell are they all advertising and marketing the same? That's because they've always done it that way. When you answer these questions, you're able to come up with a much better idea of who and what you are and who and where you can sell your product and service. And finally, what's your marketing budget? All right, well, I get this question all the time because it's one of the questions that that we have to ask as an advertising agency when we're sitting down with a prospective client or even a client that's been with us 5, 8, 10, 12 years. We're going to sit down and say, okay, hey, look, what is your marketing budget? And you have to be honest with yourself, and if you happen to employ an advertising agency, you must be honest with your ad agency. Don't fudge the figures. We're on the same team. If my company, if Inside Advertising doesn't make money for your company, we're not going to be in business very long. And we've got a great track record of helping people find certain niches and opportunities that can build their business. And so this trust factor is very important. You have to know what your budget is. Now, I get asked all the time, okay, so what percentage of my sales or what percentage of my profit should I put into advertising and marketing? There is no easy answer because it all varies as to the business that you're in. All right? I mean, if you have an online business that you can push a lot of product and push a lot of product through social media and other things, your budget to be able to attract people there is going to be considerably less than your brick and mortar store down the street trying to get people to come into your building. So there are all kinds of factors. Sometimes it's 1% of the budget. Sometimes it's 1.5%. It all varies as to your business. So you've got to sit there and think, don't throw that slide up again if you would, Ryan. Here we have all kinds of numbers: 15%, 20%, 2.5%, 10%. How much is enough? Only you can answer that. But to be able to answer the question, what is your marketing budget? You've got to be spending your time marketing. You've got to understand your purpose, your competitive advantage, who your target audience is, what tools you believe your audience is hanging on to. You've got to have planted your flag. You've got to know your identity through branding, and then you can go ahead and start to figure out what your marketing budget is. Pretty simple, right? Here's a quickie. We're going to tell you right now about the 800-pound gorilla that's coming to Main Street. All right, you might have seen this image. This is from the 1920s show. This is obviously King Kong. Ryan's going, King Kong? When the hell's King Kong? Well, King Kong, Ryan, how old? Yeah, I don't want to ask how old Ryan is. He's probably young enough to be my grandson. But King Kong was this hugely fascinating movie that was done in the 1920s. Fay Wray, by the way, for you history buffs, was the damsel in distress. And King Kong climbed the Empire State Building, and he caused all kinds of troubles. And it was quite the science fiction thriller. It's been redone several times. Well, guess what, kids? King Kong is coming to Main Street, and we're going to share with you who King Kong is right now. You ready? Don't be too frightened, because King Kong is Walmart. Walmart, ladies and gentlemen, has decided to go ahead and go local. Now, this is going to be absolutely stunning for some of you. Walmart says that, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to stop putting all of our advertising dollars for the world's largest retailer. We're going to stop putting all of our advertising dollars in national ads, and we're going to start going after local markets in 60 different communities. What they have done, and this is very interesting, and for those of you who are local businesses, you need to understand that what they're going to do is create 1,500 locally produced commercials talking about that market. Now, while their target will tend to be grocery stores, because they're getting not as big a slice of the pie as what they'd like, don't think for 1 minute that your mom and pop store on Main Street is going to be exempt from the big time marketing gorilla of Walmart. So what should you be doing right now? Well, first of all, you've got a leg up, all right, because you're already local. You already have those connections. You need to right now, without delay, start creating your buy local marketing plan. And you can do that a number of ways. You can work with your local chambers of commerce. You can work with small business development people. You can work with your advertising agency. Start to craft that message that talks about how your localness in the community actually helps the community grow. This is almost an amalgamation of cause marketing and regular marketing, because many of these stores, these big box stores out there, kids, don't pay any local taxes. They don't. They just don't. They get ways around it. But you are putting people to work. You're causing dollars to churn in the community. You need to start planting your flag about being local today before those Walmart ads start running in your community. You want some help with that? Call us. We're always available to be assistive. When we come back, we're going to be talking about business and social media with the Social Media Club of Des Moines. Suzanne Hull and Kelly Sparks are in the hot seat today. We're going to talk about why businesses I used to be able to talk. Why businesses should be paying close attention to a social media club near you. Kelly Sparks and Suzanne Hull next in the seat with Insight on Business. We'll be back right after this.